Hello everyone. You've finished Module 1 and Week 1. I just wanted to do a quick video to make some comments about your work on Module 1, which is really just the pretest and your introductions. Thank you to everyone who posted their introductions and fully answered the prompt by telling me a little bit about your instructional practices as you're getting ready to teach a class, however that might be. But I wanted to make some comments about the pretest. Generally, you all did pretty well, particularly in the multiple choice questions. But I think over the next couple weeks, you'll start to see some growth in your own knowledge and your own thinking in those short answer questions. So I did want to make some comments about some of those specific comments that I saw already. And the first one was when asked about time to reflect after a lesson, there was one response in there that someone said, "You usually have no extra time to do so." And I would argue that it's not extra time. Reflection should be part of your instructional process. It should be built into your workflow to ensure that you can intentionally reflect and think about what you need to do differently the next time. So hopefully you can start to switch your thinking from, oh, I need to do all of these extra things, to this is part of my process, this is part of my workflow, and it's not extra, it's just what I need to do to make my instruction successful. And then there were some comments that I wanted to address in the difference in a lesson plan versus an outline. I saw some really good responses there, so I was really pleased about that. A lot of you said things like a lesson plan is more focused on learning outcomes than an outline. And I would say that it's not just more focused, it's only focused. A lesson plan is driving you to be focused on learning outcomes. And we're exploring that a little bit in Module 3, and we'll go deeper into learning outcomes in Module 4. So keep an eye out for that, and it will really help you structure your lesson plan around those learning outcomes. Another comment was that a lesson plan is less focused on disseminating information. Absolutely, that goes along with the idea of student-centered learning that you were reading about in Module 2, that lesson planning and student-centered learning is less focused on the information and the content and more focused on what the student needs. So that was a great comment there. And another thing that I wanted to mention was a comment from someone who said an outline can exist in a lesson plan. Yes, that is absolutely true. You might have an outline, particularly of content, in a lesson plan. So you might see something that starts to look like an outline when you're describing your content in your lesson plan. Outlines tend to focus on, if only, be descriptions of content that will be shared. So you can certainly have an outline within a lesson plan, but they are two different things. You typically wouldn't see a lesson plan in an outline, so it doesn't quite work the same way. But then on to student-centered learning, there were some comments in there about learning styles and the student's individual or particular or preferred learning style. We're not going to be discussing learning styles in this class. Learning styles research has really grown beyond that outdated model of forcing students into particular learning style buckets. We're focusing on the idea of student-centered learning because there are best practices that do fit all or most students. And a lot of those ideas come into play during activities and assessments that we design. And really, it's the idea of giving students choices or multiple methods of learning. Not saying you're a visual learner, so you need visuals, and you're a auditory learner, so you need sound. That's really getting to be an outdated model, and we're focusing on different practices and a different idea that focuses on things like universal design for learning, providing multiple methods of accessing and interacting with content and activities. And so we'll be talking a little bit about that more later, but we're not talking about learning styles, and we're not going to go into that. So that's really not the area that we're going in best practices here. But I did have a really great response in that students are not passive vessels to receive information or learning from an instructor, but are rather active in the process of learning. So that was a really great comment. You know who you are if you wrote that, and I appreciated that. And I think we had some really good responses in that pre-quiz, and hopefully that gave you a little bit of a preview of what you're going to be doing over the next couple weeks and prepare you a little bit. And we will revisit this pre-quiz or pre-test, whatever I called it, at the end of the course, and you can see how you've grown, how your thinking has changed a little bit, so you will be able to get back to that later. So I am also looking at your work that you did in Module 2, and I will give you some feedback and probably another video like this for the whole class in the next couple days. So as you're working on Module 3 right now, if you have questions, feel free to use that general questions discussion board, and also feel free to email me directly at any point. My email is listed on the lesson plan or on the syllabus for the course. So if you have something that you'd rather send me through email, feel free to do that. You can also send me a direct message in the course site as well. So feel free to ask questions. I'm here to help guide you through this, and I will be talking to some of you guys soon, and I look forward to seeing what you're doing in Module 3.